Hello and welcome to Audio and Video Production with Mrs. Fergerson. This is the unit that we're going to be discussing about creating a music video production. Students that are 9th and 10th grade students will create a music video in class with a partner. You'll shoot all your video and you'll edit all your video for this assignment, but you're going to mainly focus on editing effects when creating this project. That's the most important part. So let's take a look here at the rubric. The time limit for this will be 1.5 minutes to 2 minutes, so you're going to use probably the first or the first verse and then stop after the first chorus of the song. If you want to sing your own song, then more power to you, but if you decide, no, I just want to use a song that already exists and I'm going to stop it after the first chorus, then that's typically the way students go. The things that you will need, you'll have to shoot all of your shots. So you need all of the shots we've already discussed in class, the 7 dynamic things that we've already covered in the first couple of projects. So wide, medium, close-up, extreme close-up, high and low angles, and of course rule of thirds composition. Each one will be worth 5 points, so that's kind of cut in half from previous projects, but you still have to have all of them. The thing you're focusing on the most here is editing. You need 8 dynamic effects in your editor. So more than just the stuff that's on the editing toolbar in Final Cut Pro, you're going to need stuff like the green screen, picture-in-picture, the slow and fast motion things, and that is why we've been looking over those tutorials and discussing those things in class for the last week, because those are things that you're going to use in this project. You have to have 8 of them. So let's be creative here and think of how you're going to put those 8 in when you're storyboarding your music video, okay? Of course, then you also have to have the essentials, your steady camera, using a tripod, make sure you have proper audio so I can hear you when you speak or I can hear your music loudly or softly enough, and then of course proper lighting. When you go outside, guys, make sure that you use your filter. If you don't turn your filter on, everything's going to be too bright and shiny. We know that. We've used it several times now, so make sure you do that. And of course, make sure you white balance. If you don't white balance and use your filter this time, I'm going to start deducting points for it. So make sure that you do those things, okay? Let's talk about what the music videos will look like. There's a storytelling video, which is what a lot of people like to do, telling a story of what's happening in your lyrics. Of course, there's always just the fun video, making a dance video. You can make things backwards, anything like that. Let me just show you an example here of one that a student has already done. It's on our Facebook page. Take a look here. Let me scroll down here to it to see if I can find one, just a short example. Here's our backwards video. This is kind of the fun video that I'm talking about. Everything in this video is backwards. So just take a look here and see if you like it. So that's just about a minute or so of an example of an affected video. If you notice in there, there's a lot, everything's backwards. You can't shoot in backwards motion, so she added that effect in there. She added the color effects. She added the stop motion effects. And all of that is stuff that we've gone over in class, and now's the time that you need to start using that stuff. So that's just kind of an example of some of the things that I want you to be doing when you're doing your music video project, okay? You can also, like I said, just tell a story of the lyrics. You've seen those music videos from other examples that we've used in class. So if you want to do something like that, you feel free to do something like that. It's totally up to you. The mastery objectives that you're going to see on the board every single day this week, the first one will be students will understand 7 dynamic production shots by shooting a music video. That's going to be in the first 4 days of class. And then the last 3 days of class, students will understand 8 dynamic production edits by editing video shot in class. The first one for the first 4 days, because we're going to take 4 days of class to shoot it. The last one for the last 3 days of the project, because we're going to take 3 days to edit it. You guys have seen mastery objectives, so you know what these are. Making sure the objectives are met, kind of just discuss the same thing. The first 4 days of shooting is the dynamic shooting. The last 3 days of editing is the making sure the dynamics are, or the shots are all edited. I'm going to be going over this stuff as I walk around the classroom to make sure that you're meeting your objectives. So if you're not shooting something, I'm going to know it and I'm going to call you out on it. So make sure that you're doing that stuff, guys. We need to make sure these objectives get met. The course competencies that we will be using is Benchmarks 1.2 Section 5. You can go ahead and read that for yourself. And then, of course, Benchmarks 1.2 Section 18. You guys can go ahead and read that yourself too. These are all things that we've done previously in class. This is just a touch-up of it, and we're going to be exploring the equipment and the software more in depth on Section 5 here, instead of just going over the basics of how to import, how to cut and edit things. You want to know how to use these effects so that when you get into the advanced level classes, that you can do these things, which leads me into our contributing factors. The benchmarks listed are going to help you prepare to get into the advancement of the second and third level courses. If you can't do these benchmarks, then there's no reason for you to be in the second and third level class. So if you plan to move on and become a competency completer, then you need to make sure that you get this down and understand these benchmarks. That's also going to lead into your professional work experience, which is what gets you out into the community doing things and projects for community people instead of just doing projects in class. So if that's something that you strive to do, make sure you understand these benchmarks. And then, of course, we've kind of already talked about becoming a pathway completer, but you'll know that you're contributing to the benchmarks and to the competencies if you become a pathway completer leading into the first, second, and third levels of the course. So stuff that we've already discussed, but this is going to be a really fun project. I know this is most students' favorite project, so let's be visually creative and let our audience enjoy this, okay? All right, let's get started.